With elections in Taiwan round the corner in January, what kind of cybersecurity attacks and disinformation campaigns that you see emanating from China?
Okay. Actually, the cybersecurity attack is happening, and it's happening great increase every month because we are running the cybersecurity information sharing, and we collect the information from different places of the world, even inside Taiwan or outside Taiwan. And gradually, we just realized that kind of attack is keeping increase from month by month. And after analyze that kind of attack, the two major sources the attack was come from. The first, the most attack come from U.S. The second largest country come from China. Directly attack come from China. But when we try to identify what would be the source in U.S., majority of them is come from the cloud service provider. For example, like Amazon Web Service. For example, like a Google Cloud Service. And for that kind of platform provider, the service is not only for U.S. citizens. Actually, the service, they allow the global user to using their service. So we also try to coordinate with law enforcement agents from time to time, and also coordinate with all the cybersecurity companies as well. And after some of the cases been analyzed, eventually we realized from the attack pattern, some of the attack pattern can be identified actually that belong to a certain cyber group in China. So we can understand that kind of situation, that kind of cyber attack could be from China, either direct from China or indirect from China. It's from time to time, it's getting more and more, especially close to the election.
The Chinese cyber attacks that are happening, they're trying to interfere with the democratic process in Taiwan. Are they trying to discredit candidates? Are they trying to influence through pushing a certain political party? What kind of political interference is happening?
Okay, let me go to the different part of the cyber attack. Previously talking about cyber attack would be technical attack. Second part of the cyber attack would be disinformation attack. For example, people or attacker using the disinformation, spread out the disinformation, try to influence the election. So, for example, if any certain candidate that become a part of preference candidate from China, that kind of candidate, you can realize a lot of information posted from certain group who supporting the particular candidate. And that kind of information spread out quickly, and with a lot of help, a lot of people try to share that kind of information. So we can identify that kind of information, that kind of traffic behavior is not usual, it's a normal traffic behavior. So we can assume that kind of information, especially when we try to check that kind of information. A lot of content basically is disinformation. That was incorrect. So actually, the law enforcement agent in Taiwan and a lot of cybersecurity company, even for us, pay attention to monitor what's happening. And if anything was illegal, we need to take immediate action. Either the trigger come from the law enforcement agent or the trigger event come from the court order. We can take the immediate action if we discover that was illegal action.
What kind of collaboration and training together happens with the US? And also, how are you looking at building partnership between US, India and Taiwan on sharing cyber, because cyber attacks don't have geography? It would be a concern for the entire Indo-Pacific region.
Yeah, that would be extremely important to collaborate with international partners. As I mentioned, majority of cyber attacks actually come from outside of your jurisdiction, not only Taiwan. So we need to collaborate with our international partners. For example, like provide a training course to each other, and to also sharing the cyber intelligence, cyber attack pattern. Because a lot of cyber attack pattern happen in Taiwan could be happen somewhere else. So we are happy to sharing that kind of information to our partners. And in addition to that, I believe the US or like India, also they are happy to sharing that kind of cyber intelligence with us. With that kind of cyber intelligence sharing, basically that can strengthen our cyber defensive strategy together. And with that kind of intelligence sharing, we can train more people to realize how can we properly defend ourselves to defend the democracy. Collaboration will be extremely important because right now cyber attack or disinformation like ruin the democracy very serious. And that kind of damage actually cannot be solved only by the technology itself. Of course, we try to advance the technology, try to advance how to properly defend the cyber attack, but cannot only defend by the technology alone, but I also need to defend by the partner, international partner. Also need to share the cyber intelligence together because that kind of intelligence can be changed from time to time. But the timely information sharing about cyber intelligence are very critical because a lot of tech in the same period of time will be very similar. If we can quickly to share that kind of cyber intelligence, that will be very helpful not only for us but also for our partners as well. And to share that kind of cyber intelligence, also need to provide capacity building because not all of the people they fully aware how to properly respond with that kind of cyber attack. How can they prepare themselves to defend that kind of cyber attack? So proper cybersecurity training will be very important. That's why, like US, like India, and we have conduct cybersecurity training from time to time, especially some of the campaigns running by the government, for example, like a GCTF, and they provide a training not only to the beginner, but also to the government officer. So let the officer know what kind of cybersecurity will relate to their business. How can they define a proper strategy, allocate proper resource to against that kind of cyber attack? I think that's very important.
This last question, when we talk of satellites and China also trying to dominate space technology, how huge can the threat be if they actually, get hold of that kind of technology to be able to create a kind of, Chinese control over the satellite communications? And secondly, also then, for Taiwan, the submarines and the submarine cables will be very important, and the sea security. So how do you really deal with it from the defense point of view in space technology, because that's the next?
Okay. You're talking about satellites. Satellites are actually getting more important because it's not only provide a weather monitoring and disaster monitoring, but right now satellite, for example, like a low orbit satellite, LEO satellite, they can even provide high-speed data communication service that have been inserted in a lot of area. In Taiwan, we're going to have a similar service, commercial service going to be launched beginning of next year, starting from next year. So in terms of satellite communication, actually the cyber attack can be even worse because satellite communication doesn't have proper protection. That can be easily damaged by jamming the signal because the signal can be easily to be interrupted. So we need to find a way, try to how to resilient that kind of satellite communication signal from the sky. In addition to satellite, but we also need to secure our communication, undersea cable communication. And because the majority of data traffic in Taiwan go to the internet, global internet, go through undersea cable. About 99.95% of the data traffic goes through undersea cable. So the cybersecurity within the undersea cable is also a very important issue. So far in Taiwan, we still try to pay attention how can we solve the problem, how can we make the cybersecurity more resilient in terms of satellite communication, in terms of submarine cable communication. And government has been identified several strategies, try to strengthen the communication between the sky and between the sea, and try to balance that kind of communication. What happens if the submarine cable has been disconnected? Can we transfer the traffic, indirect the traffic into the sky? That's government trying to do, and we're trying pretty hard, but everything was just beginning, and we still have a long way to go.
What are the lessons learned from the Ukraine-Russia war situation, where Ukraine really faced so much of cyber attack? And the first point of the military invasion, first was cyber and then the invasion happened.
Okay, I believe the Ukraine war, actually a lot of countries can get a lesson from them because Ukraine war demonstrate the hybrid war combination. For example, they are physical war and also combined with a cyber attack and also disinformation. You can see all kinds of interaction happening in the Ukraine war. They can spread out all kinds of disinformation, just talking about and what's the current status with the, actually that was wrong content, to misleading the global media. And also in the same time, and for example, like Ukraine has been disrupted, all the terrestrial cable has been disrupted by Russia, and eventually quickly they switched to the satellite communication, like Starlink. Actually, it never happened before in the previous war. Nobody had that kind of experience. But Ukraine war tell us we should prepare for that. And if any cables, terrestrial cable disconnect, we need to utilize the satellite communication technology. And we need to proper preparation how to defend the disinformation attack. So actually, they provide most fashionable manner for us to learn from different angles, not only from technology angle, but also we need to familiar with that kind of hybrid model of attack. So the traditional war not only prepare your traditional army, traditional military weapon, you also need to exercise how can you be more familiar with a cyber weapon, how can you be more familiar with disinformation, especially they try to give in the wrong command to your military. So we need to prepare for that, for that kind of hybrid model of a new modern war. I think that's the lesson they provide to the world.
Can you tell us more about Starlink and how did it really help Ukraine? And then is Taiwan also looking at that model for itself?
Yes. Actually, for example, like Ukraine, from the beginning of the war, everything, all the terrestrial cable has been ruined by Russia. So very soon they're quickly looking for help from US. And the Starlink, they're willing to provide a service to them. So that's the first time they demonstrate satellite can be a very useful communication vehicle to, especially in such disaster situation. And eventually they demonstrate that kind of technology do work, especially during that kind of very disaster situation, still working. And not only for citizen communication, but also can be applied for military communication as well. And during the wartime, a lot of military communication, they even using the Starlink to communicate, to provide a communication between different military units, and even try to using the kind of technology to develop attack information. So that kind of technology, actually, as I mentioned, we never had that kind of experience. That's the first time we see the demonstration from Ukraine war. The satellite communication can be really effective to be a communication vehicle in such severe situation. So we got to prepare for that kind of technology. Even before that war, most of people, they don't care about satellite communication. They consider that would be legacy technology or useless technology, a very expensive tool for communication. But after Ukraine war, it demonstrates it really helps. And not only for citizens, but also it helps for military use. So that becomes a very dual-use technology we need to familiar with and need to have developed a strategy. How can we deploy the satellite communication technology in our daily life?
So China has a specialized unit for cyber, carrying out cyber attacks. The PLA has a dedicated unit. Can you tell us a little bit about what you know about that unit? And also counter defense for Taiwan military. How strong do you think its counter and offensive capabilities are as far as cyber is concerned?
Okay, in terms of the special unit from China military, they do have a special cyber unit, and the special cyber unit actually conduct a lot of cyber operations in different countries. And some of the operations, some of the incident has been reported by US government, and they specifically mention some of the government agency has been data leakage due to the operation by the China cybersecurity unit. So that kind of report we can identify. And also some of the cyber intelligence companies, they do provide that kind of sensitive reports. China cybersecurity unit, they do penetrate into different countries. And not only doing the cyber attack, but also provide espionage, try to steal very confidential business intelligence, try to steal the confidential information from critical infrastructure provider. I believe most of the country need to pay attention, not only pay attention to that kind of, pay attention to China, but they need to pay attention. How can we prepare, have proper defensive strategy to defend that kind of cyber attack, especially sponsored by the national government. So we need to prepare for. Traditionally, we only consider cyber attack only could be commercial interest. But nowadays, it proved not only commercial interest. A lot of cyber attack actually was state-sponsored cyber attack. So how can we properly respond to the state-sponsored cyber attack? And we definitely need to find a proper way to defend it and try to find a strategy, find a solution to secure our critical infrastructure as a whole.